Welcome everybody. I'm sorry. I clicked my intro video, but I forgot to click the go live button. I appreciate everybody joining us here. I've been just talking away, kind of like last before the Super Bowl when I was talking and the mic was off. I gotta. It's been a rough couple of days here. But anyway, was we were off last week, last Saturday, Sunday. Went to the Charlotte Boat Show and was inspecting pontoons there. Did a whole bunch of videos, updated everything for the new 2024. There were still a lot of 2023s on the floor, but 2023, 2024s, and was able to inspect. Oh, I don't know. I heard that there were 438 boats at the show. I inspected all the pontoons. I missed Veranda, and I missed. There was a dealer that didn't want me on his boats, and you may have seen that video. So I missed his two brands. He had Sylvan, and he had Bentley. So I didn't get an opportunity to inspect those two ones, but getting ready to update the pontoon best and worst video, and so got some good videos there. One video that I was super excited to get was the two that I just released. There was a uh, booth that had cutouts of an Alpha, a Bravo 3, and a Volvo DP, their dual prop. And so I was actually able to show some of the internal workings of the gears and the drive, what's happening in the lower unit on a stern drive specifically. It's very, very similar to what happens on an outboard. So I thought that was great. And those videos are out there, so that you can kind of get an idea if you're curious. Um, and LJC, no, I have not been to the Grand Rapids show, but I do. I've got a cousin that lived in Chicago, and when he had kids, moved over to Grand Rapids. But I have not been to that show. I've not been to a lot of shows outside of where I lived. So I've been to Charlotte, Charleston, Savannah, Greensboro, Greenville, South Carolina, Columbia. I've been to some shows at Lake of the Ozarks, Kansas City, Omaha. But outside of that, I haven't been to a lot of shows on the West Coast. Never been to the Chicago show, Seattle. There's a ton of them that I would love to go, but I just have not had a chance yet. So, but yeah, I was talking to one of the guys I know that works for the producer. I didn't talk to the main guy, Les. He's usually running around like crazy, but I talked to the one of the sales guys that kind of coordinates everything on the sales side, getting all the boots sold and then making sure everybody's good. And he said they had 487 boats in the show, which is a lot. I thought that was a ton. They were counting jet skis as boats too, but I did get a chance to inspect a bunch of those. I did not get a chance to inspect. Did not get a chance to inspect any fiberglass. I was just focused on pontoons because that's one of my most popular videos that I wanted to get updated. I'm hoping to make it to a coastal show so I can do center consoles, bay boats, and get those done as well. And if not, I might have to make a trip. I know the Miami Boat Show was last day was today. I know they got rained out like crazy. It was raining and blowing down there. So I hate it for the guys and the captains that have to move all those boats out if the weather doesn't clean up much. So Mark, if you got a question, just go ahead and drop it in the comments. And that's a new name. Just had our local show, Grand Rapids. So 211. Thank you. I got Michaela's email. Glad they finally got to you, and happy wedding, whatever you say there. Congratulations, I guess. Ray, just technical difficulties. Getting old, forgetful, you know. So I saw the video of the dealer who kicked you out. Yeah, it was very like it just caught me so off guard. It caught me so off guard that I didn't even know. Like I didn't respond like I normally would. Be like, I asked why, like what's going on. I asked a whole group of people if I could do it. I asked permission first, and then he still didn't like it. So I stopped at the very end of the show. At the very end of the show, these dealers are beat, all of them. They're working 4 days in a row. They're working 12, 14 hours. Most of them set their booth up working, for 12, 14-hour days to set the booth up. They're selling the whole show, and then they have to start breaking down immediately after. So he was covering boats. I just stopped by. I said, hey, listen, I'm not sure what happened the other day. I said, here's my card. This will show you what I was doing, and hope you guys have a safe, easy move out. And I left it at that. So if there's somebody that put a comment on, I want to know who it is so I don't use them. I said, email me and I'll let you know. I'm not gonna put him on blast. Not gonna put it out there. I don't know. Maybe he thought I was doing something different than what I was, but whatever it is, we'll leave it at that. It just frustrated me so much. It like took me off my game. Like I didn't know what was going on. I made that video. I probably didn't even need to do that, but I just wanted to get it off my chest. So anyway, got home, watched the Super Bowl with my girls, had some nachos, and watched a great game. So it turned out to be a good night. Yeah, the lower unit. I'm really glad that they let me do a video on that. I know the lady is a subscriber. The manager of that marina is a subscriber, and she's like, hey, come up anytime. I love your videos. If you want to use the cutouts to do anything else, we'd be happy to let you use our facility, let you use the cutouts. So if you've got other like questions that having some cutouts like that would be valuable, I would be happy to put those together for you. So Dustin, welcome. Good to have you. Were there many center consoles there? You know what? There's let's see. C Pro was there. There were a couple Robalos there, not many. C Hunt. There was a big C Hunt dealer that came up from Columbia that was there. They probably had 10 strictly center consoles. Axopar was there, one of those kind of explorer boats, that Finnish design. They were there. Who else was there? I was really, really pontoon focused though. So I didn't other than chatting with people I knew, I was just pontoon booth to pontoon booth because I had basketball. I wasn't able to make it Thursday, Friday. I had basketball Saturday afternoon. So I didn't get there Saturday till like 5. It was from 5 to 8, or 5 to 9 on Saturday. And then Sunday got there at open and was there till 5 when it closed. And the way I do it is, I try to inspect as many different models as I can. And this time I actually inspected on video each model and sort of talked about like, all right, on these, this is the top one, this is the mid, this is that. Are they built different from the decking down, or are they exactly the same? Because what I get on pontoons a lot is, hey, this is luxury. Like, I can't believe you have this in mid-tier. This is so nice. Like, yeah, from the flooring up, they've really knocked it out. They've done a great job, but the details of it and the decking down, yeah, it's a $150,000 tri-tune. That doesn't make it a premium boat. And that's what I wanted to try to get across to people, is that they fancy up the interiors, but the construction quality doesn't change. So I did some of that. But the center consoles, I'm going to do if I can make it to a coastal show. And I've got about another month and a half to make it to one, maybe the Savannah show, which is towards the end of March, that would work out. So we'll see. Stern drives aren't dead in Michigan. Yeah, and I think I say it in the video, LJC, is I love stern drives. I grew up as a lake boater. I grew up on stern drives. I don't like giving up the swim platform. I don't like giving that up as a lake boater. There's not enough benefit of the outboard other than extending the season and starting the season earlier, because you don't have to worry about winterizing. And they're quieter. They got a little bit more get up and go out of the hole. They got a better hole shot, but stern drives aren't going anywhere. Stern drives, they're not dead. They're not going to be dead. And I think there's always going to be, 5,000 to 7,000 stern drives sold every year. I think there's a place for inboards on the wake boats, the tow boats. There's a place for the jet drives, which are great on the lake as well. But there's going to be a big population of Cobalt, Sea Ray, Chaparrals, Bayliner, Stingrays that are going to be freshwater stern drives, and that are going to be desirable for sure. Selling my '08 Sun Tracker, what's a good resource to establish fair market value? So what I would do is I would go to JD Powers, used to be NADA Guides, and go to their powerboat section. So what you'll do is you'll just put in the brand. So let's see here. Tracker Marine. You put in 08, put in the year, and then let's see, Sun Tracker. So I don't know what it is. We're just going to say it is it's a 20-foot party barge. Put in your zip code, and it's going to give you, you can add options only if those are options that are really above and beyond what the standard boat would have. So if on that, if you've got a trolling motor, you can get credit for that. Pick the horsepower that you've got. You got a 75 trailer if you've got it. 08, that's on a single axle, 20 feet. You don't get any extras for having extra stuff on the trailer. You either have a trailer or you don't. And then, so that's, assuming it's this boat, your average retail is 10.3. That's average. So good condition, good mechanical order. If it has some issues, some rips in the seats, it's going to be less. If it's been in salt water, take 10%, 15%, 20% off the top. For that old, it would probably be 20% off the top if it's a saltwater boat. If it is in perfect condition, low hours, perfect upholstery, no stains, no rips, no dents, no dings, then you can add 10, 15% on top of that to get to high retail. And that's probably what a lender would lend on it. So let's say top end 12, that's with a trailer, with a 75. Obviously adjust it for your exact boat. And then what I would do is I would list it for 12.9 probably. And that would give me a little room to negotiate. If I'm not getting any action at 12.9, I drop it to 12.499. I'm not action there, I drop it to 11.9. No action there, I drop it to 11.450. And then I just keep moving it down if I've got the time. If I want a quick sell, I list it for 10.5 and let it roll. They're getting a fair deal, you're getting a fair deal. Because it's probably an average condition, right? Although every seller wants to think their boat's in better than average condition, every buyer thinks every boat is less than average condition, and you just got to come to somewhere in the middle. And I've thought about subscribing to ABOS, which is a paid subscription that has similar information. But you can't resell that information. So I've got to talk to a rep and find out, could I use it in a way to advise people? Like, could I use it and say, hey, Mark, reach out to me and I'll actually give you the low, average, high, and the lending value. What's the max that a lender would lend on it? And I don't know. I don't know how that would work, but it's something I've been thinking about. I had a guy reach out on a 34 Tierra that wanted to know how much should I pay for this boat so I can make an offer. And I was like, man, maybe I should. Maybe that's a service I could offer, but I got to find out about being within the resale restrictions that they have. But that's what I would do, and that should give you a pretty good idea. Let's see here. Facebook user, are there any concerns buying boats made COVID years? Story about very low grade seacocks being used, certain line boats due to the. So, yes, there was issues with production quality during COVID years. It was spotty. I don't know it was so much about low grade material in it was and it wasn't. So there's two things that happened. One is boats were starting and stopping. So somebody got sick on the line and the whole line had a quarantine, right? In 2019, that happened. 2020, there were some supply chain issues and the boat had to stop mid-production because they didn't have the harness, the wiring harness that they needed. So that production got stopped, and then it came in and it started again, and then they didn't have this part, stopped and started. And so it wasn't a continuous flow. The workers weren't in a groove. Bobby got sick. He was out. We pulled Susie in to take Bobby's role, and then Billy took Susie's role, and then somebody had to take Billy's role. And so there wasn't a lot of continuity. So you had a lot of boats showing up at dealers that were incomplete, that were this bolt wasn't tightened, this thing wasn't tightened, this thing wasn't quite right. So you had those issues that then dealers had to fix. And if they didn't, you got a situation where customer took it out and customer's like, my seat just fell apart. And now we got to take it back to the dealer and the dealer's got to tighten it, fix it up. All of those issues should be resolved by now because because it's handmade, because it's production, not factory assembly line in the perfect situation where there's still defects, but there's not as many as there were coming out in 19, 20, 21. On the materials, there were some times where I couldn't get this part, so I subbed in this part, which was a little less quality. Again, I think you'll be able to tell on those. I think you'll be able to notice a quality issue on most of those. The part that is concerning, and this is going to be more of 21, 22, and I don't know yet. Like, I don't know how much of an issue this is, but here's the concept is the boats being built had that issue, but so did the, so we'll say this is stainless steel. So this fitting manufacturer had that same thing happen with the raw material. So they're getting their alloys from China, which is going through the same issues in their plants. And maybe the quality of that raw material coming in to make this stainless steel fitting it was supposed to be a 3/16, a 306, 304, and it wasn't quite on the money. So this inferior product came in, it got put into the mold, and we got our fitting. And is this fitting going to fail sooner than a fitting that was built that was from raw material from 2018, 2019, when it was regular production schedule, regular quality, regular QC, all of that stuff? I haven't heard of any of those issues, but there's a chance. There's a chance that stuff's happening, and that there'll be a quicker failure rate on some of the components, right? Because the quality product coming in, is it a huge issue? I don't think so, but it's something to consider. If I had the choice of buying a 2018 or a 2020, same condition, I'd probably buy the 18 just because that's in the back of my head. Is it really going to matter? I don't know. I really don't know. But the 90% of what I'm worried about, those all little ticky tacky things the first owner had to deal with, and those are mostly straightened out, and you should be able to find the ones that aren't, because like you'll notice this hatch doesn't work right. This nut wasn't tightened up. This fitting is loose. This cleat's loose. And those are things that you'll identify by using the boat, if that makes sense. So that's something to consider, something to really sway me. It might lead me to a 2018, 2019. 2020s didn't have, it was probably the 2021, 2022. If it's going to have that material issue, the material was lower quality. That was probably happening in 2021, maybe in 2022. And now we're should be through that. So the 23s, 24s, everything should be fairly sorted out in my seat where I sit looking at things, not having any individual knowledge of, oh yeah, that happened. I don't have that type of insight. Unfortunately, it would be great if I did. Updated, really enjoyed that one. So here's what I'm going to do, Mike, is I'm going to do brand by brand, and then I'm going to compile it and do the best and the worst. So instead of just taking pictures, what I did is I actually videoed all the different models. So I'm going to go, all right, Harris, Cruiser, Sunliner, Solstice, Grand Mariner, Crown. Here's what's different. Here's the construction. So on that example, from the decking down, they're exactly the same. Cheapest model, entry-level value model of the Cruiser is built the exact same structure from the decking down as the Crown. They're top of the line. Now, it's all of the details in between that make this boat with the 150 $60,000 and the Crown with the 150 Tri-Tune 110. Okay, so what makes up that $50,000 difference? Well, it's this, that, and the other, and I show that. While I was doing that, I also was paying attention to the quality. One thing I did notice, which was interesting, is most of the manufacturer's quality improved since, like I saw noticeable things that I found in the first inspection in 2018, I think is when or 2019 when I did it, to what I found in 2024. It's great to see. Some of the mid tiers did big things much, much better. So I love to see that. So I'm hoping, assuming all goes well, maybe late March, early April, to get everything done. But it's a lot of content that I need to go through and edit and put together. And I talked, so I would look and I'd be like, the upholstery, the mid-grade upholstery, you can kind of rub it between your fingers and tell the thickness. This, I noticed that. There's not enough room for my feet at the helm, like that type of thing. And I was just talking through it. By the end of the second day, my voice was getting low and I was tired. It wears you out. So I might have to revoice over some stuff and cut and edit and all that. So end of March, early April is what I'm planning on. Yeah, there are a lot of pontoons and new +1 for Mike. Okay, I was like, what the heck? Yeah. So the question on that. So I got a lot of good stuff. I found some things that I was disappointed in from manufacturers that I really loved. There was one particular thing on the Barlettas that I found on several models with their seats, and it actually came from a subscriber that bought one. And I don't want to say he got on me about recommending them so highly, but he was definitely wanted me to be aware. I put him in touch with the president of the company and the vice president of the company, and allowed him to work with them directly. I just happened to know them from being around in the industry. But piping on their seats didn't line up. So the seat back and the base, the stitching was supposed to come down together and meet. Well, they were off. So it'd be like this stitching came down, this stitch came down here, and then it didn't quite match up with the piping on the seat side of it, on the butt side, which I was like, that's ridiculous. I talked to the rep, said, listen, you guys are too good for this. You need to fix it. And so hopefully it takes that back and they do something about it. But it's one of the reasons why I have made the decision so far not to take money from manufacturers. So I can say that, and I don't have some sort of retainer or some sort of marketing relationship where they're going to be like, all right, we're going to pull the money if you're going to say stuff like that. And I had several dealers that said, yeah, you can review our boats, just don't say anything bad about them. I was like, listen, I'm gonna give my honest opinion. You're gonna know if I say something about your boat, you're gonna know it's the truth. You're gonna know that they cut a corner here to keep costs down. Doesn't make it bad. It's just a business decision that the manufacturer had to make, and I'm sharing that with the buying community. There's not a bad boat out there. Like, there's not a pontoon that I would say don't buy it. There's pontoons I would say, if you have a certain standard and this type of thing is going to drive you crazy, then that extra money saving isn't going to be worth it. But if you're boating on a smaller lake and it's not super rough and you have a budget, but you want the warranty, then this could be a great option. And so I talked through some of that as well. What kind of discounts are we seeing? It really depends on the brand, the region, and the level of the boat. So there's some premium, like stern drives are in some areas of the country are seeing significant discounts. Some of the real premium pontoons are seeing some serious discounts. Aluminum fishing boats have already seen it. Wake boats, super high-end wake boats are seeing significant discounts because there's a lot of inventory, but it's also regional. So there are some areas, the Northeast, are seeing bigger discounts than some other areas. There are some of the areas in, we'll call it the Great Lakes area, that have some brands and some levels that are seeing high levels of inventory and bigger discounts. But it's really spotty, and it also depends on the dealers. How well did the dealers order for the 2023 and 2024 model year? Some dealers and some manufacturers were like, yeah, we know a slowdown's coming. Let's keep you at a good level. And those dealers haven't needed to, where other dealers said, hey, we're going after it and we're going to get as much product as we can. And now they're sitting super heavy. So it can be the same brand, but just a dealer handled their inventory management differently. So there's that going on as well. So it's super situational, I guess is the right way to say it. But you're seeing a lot of discounts on a lot of boats, in wakeboards, stern drives, high-end wakeboard boats, stern drives, value stern drives, value deck boats. That mid-tier has done okay. Like they've managed pretty well. Some of the really high-end premium pontoons, premium wake boats across the country. And then there's also some segments of center consoles in some regions that are off and on. So too quiet. Am I not loud enough here? I'm kind of sitting back in my seat. So I don't know if I can adjust. Can I adjust my mic? Test, test, test. So I got my heater on. It's cold here. It is cold in this area. So now just waiting on service. Could things that are warranty issues get sorted out? Yeah. So 211 bought a center console last year, and it's why the right dealer is so important. Why I'm so manufacturer is important. Like it's not unimportant, but and I see it every time I do these best and worst inspections. I'm blown away by the fact that everything in the same, or like 80% of things in the same tier, they're using the same product. Like plywood's the same, aluminum's the same thickness. They're doing their own welds, which is either welded good or it's not. They're using one of three stereo manufacturers. They're using one of two or three screen display manufacturers. Simrad, Raymarine, or Simrad, Lowrance are two of the most common that I saw. They're getting their upholstery from one of three manufacturers. They're getting their foam from one of the only manufacturers of foam, good, better, best in that. And I talk about that even within the same category. So when you put it all together, outside of the people putting it together, which let's be honest, they're fairly similar, especially in pontoons. They're all built like within 100 miles of each other in Indiana for the most part. Take out Veranda, take out Massimo, take out there's a handful of them that are built in other places, but most of them are built in Indiana, where all the RVs are built in that area. And it comes down to how well is the dealer going to take you when those little ticky-tacky warranty items come up, like tightening this and adjusting that, and this wire is a little bit loose, and having a good dealer that's going to take care of you to get you back out of the water, or keep you out of the water and take care of it in the off season, like 211s did. So I'm ready for boating season to start. Are both itching to get back out. Well, I don't know that. So Michaela and 211 Jason are in Kentucky on Lake Cumberland. So they are itching to get back. It would be their second year on the water. And you just, it gets in your blood, and it's amazing. It's awesome. The male tier is 10 minutes. Oh, I'm assuming that says the make tier is about 10 minutes from where I live. Yes, make, got it. So yeah, those are beautiful boats. Owned by, what is it? S2, I think is the parent company for Tierra and Pursuit, and they've got one other S2 boat, S2 yachts. Do I got that right? Go to good old Wikipedia. Yeah, I know that's right. Pursuit and Tierra are, but anyway, Holland, Michigan. Okay, that's right. So anyway, sidetracked. Yeah, if you ever LJC, if you ever get a chance to tour the factory, it's pretty cool. Especially a high end like that. And they may not offer tours to the general public. Usually, if you have a boat on order, any manufacturer will let you come in and do a tour. But some of them will be a little bit more protective of their proprietary build processes. They don't want the general public to see it. But I've not been to a Tierra facility, but I've been to some high ends, and it's pretty interesting to see how they're built. What do you think about Sea Hunt boats, specifically the Ultra 229? Ron, if you go to, and I haven't inspected them, but they haven't changed significantly. If we go to worst, so if you go to this video on my channel, best and worst center consoles, I put Sea Hunt in the mid tier, and they're in the upper mid tier. They're built. I've not been to their facility. I've been to Key West, but I've not been to Sea Hunts. They're built like an hour and a half for me in South Carolina. Watch that video. They're definitely in the upper mid tier, not quite premium, But they do a really nice job. The 229 Ultra is one of their more popular sizes and models. But again, just like I mentioned about 211's experience with his center console, is if you're in that upper mid tier category of a center console, then the next thing is that dealer that's offering Sea Hunt a good, solid, reputable, service focused dealer that's going to take care of you over the next year when you're getting some little ticky tacky things taken care of. And are they convenient location wise? All of that stuff comes into play. But check out that video, and you'll get a good feel for their quality and what they do good, what they do bad. All right, this is getting ridiculous. I'm turning 50 this summer, and I can't read all of the. I may need to increase the size of my screen. I can't read all the comments. My eyes are getting tired. So we're gonna go old man on you, Ray. That's for you. Going old man. Here we are. COVID boats goes back to what you've always said. Good dealers. Yeah, a good dealership. It's so critical. And everybody buying gets hung up on manufacturer. Everybody is this manufacturer. And yes, that's important to be in the right tier, and the manufacturer and the layout. All that stuff is important. The colors. Do you like it? Are you going to be proud of the boat? And then, is the dealer a good, solid dealer? Because the same manufacturer in one region of the country versus another, I could say this one's going to have a great experience. This one's going to have a terrible experience because of the dealer. And it's something that you really need to be aware of, because it happens, and it happens a lot. And I want to make sure you're on the right side. Yeah, and 211 just has gone through it. Sustainability went through it just 2 years ago. Everybody on my channel that has bought a boat within a year or two, a new boat, will let you know. I don't care if it's premium, mid-tier, value tier. They're all going to have some issues. The better dealers are going to find as many of those issues as possible before you take delivery. Sometimes it just sneaks through the crack because you don't know it until it hits the first couple of big waves, and it knocks whatever loose. It loosens up. It wasn't all the way tight, whatever. And the good dealers will get you out on the water quickly, or keep you out of the water and fix it after the fact. And they'll do both if need be. Like, hey, bring that in. We'll get you fixed right away to get you out. We'll take care of the other stuff after Labor Day. And that's the type of dealer you want. So how do you figure that out? Well, you look at Google reviews. You walk around the docks and the boat ramps, and you ask people that have those brands of boats, how's that dealer? You go into Facebook groups and you ask some questions, and you compile all that. You throw out the big outliers of this guy has nothing but bad things to say. They're the devil. This guy says they're the best thing since sliced bread. You throw those two out, and you look at the middle and you say, most people had a good experience, or there's not very many people in the middle that had a good experience. They all skew towards being great. They all skew towards being the devil. And then you make your decision accordingly. Thank you, BC. I was curious about that. Got a 25 tri-tune. Fenders big enough. Just be using docking at the restaurants on the lake. Yeah, I would think so. That is, I think, what size are the G3 Fenders? Oh yeah, those are G4. That's going to be, yeah, that's going to be totally fine. That's going to be plenty big to protect you. You could get away with the G3s. They might be a touch small, depending on where the docks line up with your decking on the boat. But the G4s will be plenty, or the 6.5s will be plenty with that setup. I do have one thing I like. If you have the fender clips, those are great. If they're built in, like the quick release pontoon fender clips. I also like these guys. Um, these are TaylorMade's version because on some pontoons you don't have a great place to tie off, but these little clips for pontoons, and I don't know that we sell them on our store. Um, I don't know that Polymore or Polyform has them, but they just click right on the rail of your pontoon, and so you can put them where you need them based on where the dock's hitting, because otherwise you're tying it onto the bimini upright. If you tie it onto the decking, those are too low and they're not in the right spots really. They're good for dock lines, but they're movable, they're cheap, they look decent. They're not going to scratch it up because they're plastic. I really like these for pontoon people, and I think they work well. So just a little extra tidbit. I got pics Friday of mine getting pulled. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Those are some exciting pictures to get of your boat going down the production line, and you just seeing it in process. You know, you see it in the two halves. You got the hull going down. You got the deck going down, and you see them marry them together. You see it coming together. So, all right, Bentley versus Bennington S class. The Bennington S class is a better built pontoon or tritoon. Okay, they're better quality all the way around. The booth I was in, Ryan, the owner and president of Bentley, was there. That's the booth I got kicked out of. I talked to him. I'd met him before. A mutual friend introduced us when their family first bought Bentley. It was probably 7 years ago or more. Matter of fact, I've got his card here, and so they're a value brand. But I'll tell you the same thing I told Ryan, the president of Bentley. I said, listen, your boats have come a long way since you guys took over. They were very, very value and just a lot of stupid manufacturing. I don't know if it was decisions, poor quality control, poor employee. What do you want to call it? Morale, or just they just did things cheaply, right? When the Marcotte, I think is the last name, when that family took over, you very quickly saw improvements in quality, in material, in the little build things. They're still in that value range, but and unfortunately, I didn't get to finish my inspection of them. So I was like, in my mind, I was like, maybe they've even moved up to the mid level. But I didn't get a chance to check underneath. I didn't get a chance to do those inspections because the owner of the dealership kicked me out. So now I can't add that because I haven't done the full inspection. So, but the Bennington S is although Bennington's a premium brand, the S is their value, and I put that in the mid tier. You'll just find things like, there's the upholstery a little bit thinner, not as much detail. Obviously, the helm is more basic, but Bennington S is a better quality build than the Bentley. Although Bentley has improved significantly since 7-8 years ago, when another owner was building them. So there you go. Oh yeah, that should be plenty high enough. That's what I have. My center console. Yeah, yep, for sure. G2 of that size should suffice. 3 if you really want. Maybe a couple. I would say G3. I would go G3 on that. The G2s are G2 poly form Fenders. And I talked to the rep for Polyform, and she hasn't responded to my email, but she said, yeah, I'll send you colors and sizes so that you can do a video and you can actually show them relative to each other. Because looking at this image, if I was to look at a G3, well, guess what? It looks exactly the same because it resizes. But I think G3 is a good size. I think the G2 is a little bit small. I just think it's too small for a 25. But it kind of depends on where the docks are going to match up, what that looks like in your area. But yeah, definitely 2 minimum, probably 3. Okay, I'm sorry. Should be. You're saying two in quantity, not G2 in size. Okay, yes, I'm with you there. Two G3s or 2 G4s should do the trick for you. Let's see. Dave bought a new Cobalt CS23 last year. Received a recall notice due to a steering issue. Not new to boating. New to recall. Was impressed. Yeah. So Dometic made last year steering systems. Yeah, you saw it pop up. Dometic steering recall. So in 2023, Dometic recalled all of their steering systems with their cable steering systems, and I think some others. So there was a period of time where you could not get the proper steering system for a lot of boats. I don't want to say most, but a whole bunch of them. I talked to a tech buddy of mine that's been in some of my videos, Mike Mandel. He owns Charlotte Boat Repair. Super honest, great tech if you happen to be in the Lake Wylie, Lake Norman area. But they recalled those in April, and they just didn't have them to resupply. So they're starting to get all of those back, and they've got them restocked. They've got whatever. I don't know if it was an engineering issue, if it was a materials issue. I don't know what it was, but getting steering cables and steering systems was a big pain in the ass last year for a lot of dealers, mechanics. Like and the reason I had this conversation with Mike is he was trying to get a steering system for his boat. And he's like, I know I know any place, like multiple places to get these things, and nobody's got one. I can't get one from nowhere. And he's like, if I can't get one, there's not many people that can. He's been in the business for 20 years, and so that's what's going on. But yeah, the boat manufacturers are really good. Auto manufacturers are getting better because of the lawsuits and the liability. Boat manufacturers have always been pretty good about doing recalls because in boating, it's even that you have a steering issue and you're 20 miles offshore, you got a major problem. You break down on a car, you're on the side of the road and you got a tow truck and you're fine. So boating has always been pretty good about recalls, and Cobalt especially. Cobalt is, they're on top of customer service. There's a reason why they have the reputation they do for the last 50 whatever years. That's even. I mean, hey, let's get you in there in the off season. I don't know, Dave. I don't remember where you are, but hey, let's get you in here now when it's off season, so that when it gets warm, you're ready to rock and roll, and we're not trying to deal with it then. That's a good dealer. That's a good dealer. A bad dealer is like, hey, if they come to us, we'll take care of it, but we're not going to proactively do it. And then what happens? They get into the busy time. They're recommissioning boats, getting them ready for the season, and it is. Now you're on a wait list. Now you're not getting access to your boat when you want it, and that's a bad dealer. And there's some out there. You just got to find them. Yeah, the Mark. what's turned out to be really cool is we've got a core guys that have been on for, there's Brock, who's not on tonight. I don't think he may jump on. But Ray has been on, I think, since the very beginning. Sustainability's been with us for years. 211, since he found us a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, he's been on a bunch. Dave has been on a bunch. Saint, who is Bo, he's the one that made part of that intro video that I play. He's been on for maybe even 3 years. And there's so much more boating knowledge on than just me. Like, I can answer a lot of questions. A matter of fact, I was on, if you guys know Captain Boomies, she's on Captain Boomies. She is a legit captain. Running. I told her, I can run boats up to 40 feet pretty comfortably. And I said, so you get up to 60 feet, and that's way outside my comfort zone. And she's like, that's where I start. And she's running big boats. She's got a good channel. And she also had me on the Funny Boat podcast. Funny Boat podcast with Ed. He's called the Broker with the Beard, is his nickname. But we were talking about my new book that came out and had just a fun conversation. And we were talking about the fact that, like, hey, there are a lot of times when I just don't know the answer. But the awesome thing is I can give a resource to, her and I ran into each other because I recommended her to a client that was looking for somebody up in the Chesapeake. And she's super talented and super knowledgeable, but also because we have such a great community. Like, there are times when I'll be like, hey, what do you think? Bo's a marine technician. Saint, he's a marine technician up in Seattle. He's got a lot of experience that I don't. Brock is a bass fisherman and has a center console in Charleston. He knows a lot. Sustainability has a big pontoon with a 450 Merc on it, or big fast engine. I always get it wrong. I think I have 450s right. 211 just went through the process, and everybody's super good at helping out, putting in their knowledge. Like, hey, this is what I experienced, and so it's really become a fun community because of that. We just don't allow crappy people. I had a few crappy comments in a few of my videos lately, and I just like, I don't need that type of person in my group. So goodbye, and just kick them out. Like, I don't care. I bought another one of them floating mats for my mom, a bit cheaper this year. So are you talking like the lily pads, or are you talking the blow up mats? Bo, let me know. Because we've had both, and I like them both. They're just different for hanging out. Yeah, 100%. Sustainability's got a Bennington Q. So the top of the line, but the Bennington Bentley conversation is Bennington, much higher quality build and everything. And also got a chance to look at the T25 Pilot House in person. Damn good looking boat. All right, so Bo is a Bayliner owner, multiple Bayliners, loves the Cuddy cabin. And when he saw this T25 come out, it must have been up at the Seattle show where he is. But he was super excited to see this Pilot House come out because he loves the cabin. And up in Seattle, it kind of makes sense. More so, like, I'm down south, and the Cuddies are just, in the summer, they're just too hot, and there's not enough airflow. But this is nice, especially in an area, Seattle, where you do get some weather and having that area. So I don't recall seeing them. Who's the Bayliner dealer? I was in the Bayliner booth, and I'm almost certain they didn't have them because I was looking at what they had Tahoe pontoons. But I did not see that there. Hopefully I'll see one at the coast when I get to a coastal boat show. 211, that's the feeling I have. Looking for input. Come off the 22 C-Ray for years. Nice, nice, nice. Don't confuse the quality and reputation of Bentley car and a Bentley boat. Major factor in my decision. Yeah, everybody has followed suit, but Bennington was the first 10-year bow to stern warranty on the market. Now, most premium level manufacturers have followed suit, but not all. And Bennington is also one of the first ones to say, we're not going to go to component. All warranty items come to Bennington. We deal with the dealer and get you back on the boat, on the water. And we will deal with the Simrad. We will deal with the Fusion audio. We will deal with the Simtex upholstery manufacturers. We will deal with our suppliers direct. But you're at Mr. Customer that bought the Bennington. You deal with the dealer deals directly with us, and we approve and decline, and the dealer fixes it, and then we handle all of our suppliers accordingly on the back end. Customer, you don't need to worry about it. Before that, really common in the marine industry was, oh, that's not our issue as a manufacturer. That's the manufacturer of that component's issue. You need to deal with them. I was like, that didn't make any sense to me as a common sense type person. It's like, listen, you chose to put that in your boat. I didn't choose that system. Like, I didn't choose to use, a Rockford Fosgate stereo in the boat. You did. If there's an issue with that, that's on you. You fixed that for us. And finally, the manufacturers are coming around to that. I'm not sure why it took so long to get there, but that's the industry is backwards at times, and hopefully we continue to move in the direction of let's make the experience better for the consumers. Some ways we've improved, some ways we've gone backwards, but that's my hope for the industry. Appreciate you taking COVID years production. When did you say would be center consoles? The Savannah Boat Show is not until boat show. Oh crap! You know what? The Savannah Boat Show was canceled. The Savannah Boat Show was canceled this year. So I'm not. We appreciate your understanding. We look forward to seeing you in 2025. So I need to find boat show in Carolinas, March 2024. The Raleigh Boat Show, they'll have some center consoles, March 22nd. So that's an option for me. Columbia I've missed, Greenville I've missed already. And I've got 2 more weeks of basketball. So that's really what's kept me from getting to some of the shows, is because I coach my daughter's basketball team. And for me, family comes before work. And so, unfortunately, that means that you guys don't get some of the content that you would like to see. And sometimes I'd like the Miami show. I would love to go to the Miami show, but I'm not going because I'm not missing my daughter's basketball, coaching her team and her games even. And it's just a choice that I've made. It limits me at time, but the choice I've decided to make. So hopefully I can find and get to that Raleigh show in March and see if there's another one that I can get to after we've got 2 more games at the Y, and she's got 2 games this week for her other league. So I'm glad I figured that out, because now I need to do some more searching. Lily pads. Lily pads, those are fun. Like, what I like about the lily pad is that they're not real even. So like my girls wrestle on them, and they have kind of king of the hill type matches on those, and I shake it back and forth, and it's pretty fun to do. I've only been following Captain Matt for about a year, but I can undoubtedly say this is broad, diversified, and on this channel. Join the live because I always informative. Life, yes, for sure. This is what you get, and I appreciate that, Dave. I appreciate that very much. That is one of the best compliments I can get. Out of my price range, a lot more spending than I thought. Well over $100,000, but it's a 25 foot. I mean, that's a lot of boat. That's a lot of boat for $100,000. And you know, these days, you say, where did I go here? Did I have this up? No. T25 Bayliner. Yeah, the that's not it. We have 121. 121 is MSRP. So yeah, probably boat show price probably was right there. I bet they put it in 99 if they could get it down that far. But let's see what the 9.4 beam. So yeah, that's a lot of boat. That's a very, very lot of boat. 51 pounds, 17 dead rise. That's not bad. That's not as much dead rise as I may have expected. I could have gone 18. Anyway, yeah, that'll be an interesting boat to check out. So, all right, people, I think we are winding down. If you've got any last questions, throw them out there. In the meantime, grab your toolkit. If you're shopping for a boat, if you're a new boat owner, grab the Boater Bootcamp. You can get this at boatbuyertoolkit.com. You can get the boot camp at boaterbootcamp.com, and just put in your email and you'll get those. If you've invested in a program for me or just feel like giving me a shout out, if you go and you Google, if you just Google Boater Secret Weapon, Boater Secret Weapon, if you could leave a review for me, that would be great. Just go into the reviews and then you can click give a review is where it says there. And that is always helpful and much appreciated as we continue to grow. And like I said, because I don't take money from manufacturers, from boat manufacturers, engine manufacturers, I've got to support the channel with selling products, my training programs, my first time boat buyer academy, my best boat captain, trailer like a pro, and now all of the boat gear that we have. But to stay independent, which I really, really, really want to, so I can give those honest reviews, this type of thing, and supporting buying your boating gear from our boat ship store, is all of that is very helpful. We've got cleaning products, dock lines, shirts, even some shirts. I sent Jason and Michaela. I would love it if you posted a picture and tagged me in it in your guys' shirt. That would be awesome. If you have any apparel, if you would take a picture of yourself and post it, that would be much appreciated. You can see my lovely family in our swag. But all that stuff allows me to continue doing it in a honest and unbiased manner. So appreciate it, everybody. Have a great week. Rob, you do the same. Bo, read somewhere that Mercruiser and Volvo are developing an electric IO. Wouldn't be surprised that if the government pushes them that direction, they're going to need to go. I did a video on Torqeedo while I was at the Charlotte Boat Show. Great use case. Torqeedo, I think, is on the money with the market they're going after. Dinghies, small boats where you need it removable up to 25 horsepower is easily available. They make up to 100, but you kind of got to work with them. That application for electric, I think, makes a lot of sense. But the market doesn't want an electric weight boat They don't want an electric center console. Most of them don't want an electric pontoon. It's just the technology is not there. But if the government pushes them in that direction, they got to be ready for it, and they've got to not be left behind. So anyway, all right. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. Michaela, thank you for that. Kings of the City, have a great week. Esker, you're very welcome. Welcome to the channel. That's a new name I don't recognize, I don't think, although I think you were in the comments earlier. So thank you guys, everybody. Appreciate it. And we will catch you next Sunday.